Hi, Jimmy Johnson here with the Patriot League for our debut episode of Behind the Mic. This series will interview on-air talent from around the Patriot League to get their great stories. And the plan was to have one guest for each one of these shows, but as 2020 would have it, plans went to the wayside. We have two today, and we have right now joining me Joe Vasile, who calls games for Bucknell University, and we have Sam Jellinek, who calls games for Colgate University. Guys, welcome in, welcome aboard.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jimmy. It's really great to be here.
Yeah, Jimmy, thanks for having us. Thanks for setting this up. This is going to be fun.
And the reason we're having fun today is because you guys have had a lot of fun this fall. MLB Network Radio is running a contest for fan calls, and you guys are finalists. You're going to compete in November against one more finalist. We have to find out who wins here in October. But right now, the Patriot League is 2 for 2. Joe, you won in September. Congratulations on that. And Sam, let's start with you. You won. You were the first one to win. You won in August for your call. Can you just talk about what it means to you to have your call recognized by MLB professionals?
Yeah, I mean, with the way everything currently is in the world, I don't know about Joe. I haven't called a game since back in February, so I haven't had a whole lot to do sports-wise as of late. So it's nice to get the play-by-play juices flowing again, and to know that I haven't forgotten to do what I love to do. And then, obviously the recognition is great, and just the interaction with everybody. The broadcast community is a very tight-knit one. So as it would happen, I know the person that won next, obviously Joe. So, it's kind of the way it works. So it's been a blast.
And Joe, you don't know your other competitor here, but we do know it's going to be at least Colgate versus Bucknell. You guys get to take this rivalry to the next level. How excited are you for this matchup here?
I'm really excited. I mean, obviously, having met Sam over the years, I know I have some very tough competition from the August winter, and I'm sure whoever wins here in the month of October is going to be a strong challenge as well. And it was just such a thrill to be able to win the month of September and kind of be in this position that I'm just happy to be along for the ride.
Now, you guys have had a great opportunity with the Patriot League here, calling live games for the network. How has working with your respective schools help you grow in this profession?
I mean, for me at Bucknell, it's meant pretty much everything. They were the first school that was at the Division I level that I called games at, and that helps to lend, at least for me, on the freelance side in trying to build that up, a little extra credibility. I went to a small Division III school, and that was where a lot of my first opportunities in broadcasting were smaller colleges, high schools, and then, when Doug Birdsong, director of broadcasting, voice of football and men's basketball at Bucknell, brought me on to do some games on the Patriot League network a few years back, things really started to take off for me professionally there, because I had kind of that extra lended credibility of, all right, here's a school that is in a conference that people know do a good job on the streaming side. And that kind of said, all right, if they're willing to put this guy on the air, then we should be willing to put him on the air as well. And it's been just a pleasure to see the student athletes and how hard they work and how hard they compete on the field. It's really been an eye-opening experience and a great one for me personally and professionally.
Yeah, from my perspective, like Joe, this was my first foray into Division I athletics. That for me, going to Syracuse, I obviously had to do a little bit of that as undergrad, but there's a pretty big difference between doing that as a student and doing it as a professional. And with the Patriot League Network, when I first came to Colgate last September, the agreement initially was I had to commit to do all hockey games, which obviously isn't Patriot League, that's ECAC. But the first weekend that I was there back in last September, there was volleyball going on. They said, hey, could you do some volleyball matches this weekend? Yeah, I could do that. Next weekend it was field hockey. Then it was soccer, men's soccer, women's soccer. And then suddenly, basically every fall sport Patriot League does and carries on the Patriot League Network I was doing. So it really helped me diversify my portfolio in terms of what I was handling at Colgate, and it helped me really establish myself there as, hey, whatever they need me to do, I can do. And then obviously the quality of play, it's so much fun to be able to broadcast for. I mean, men's soccer, women's soccer, on both sides, some of the talent that we see come in from rival schools as well as what Colgate has, and that goes for every sport in the fall and winter categories, and even the spring as well.
Now, one of the things, fans will watch games and they see play-by-play announcers calling games. They don't get to see the stuff that goes out on after the games. And one of the great things for us when we work in sports is actually, I think a lot of the greatest stuff happens before games and after games, talking with these student athletes. You guys have had plenty of opportunities to do that. What is it about Patriot League student athletes that kind of stands out? Has there been like a moment where you're like, wow, these student athletes, there's something else?
It's hard to pick just one moment because there's so many. I mean, just when you're doing prep for a game and you're looking at what majors all these student athletes are, you see engineering, biomed, it's just high level stuff that I know for me would be so far over my head. And then to focus on academics and get good grades in those disciplines, and then to be a high performer on the field is just, to me, an incredible thing. But I guess if I had to pick one thing that stood out, a few years ago, when I did a few men's basketball games at Bucknell, there was a player, Zach Thomas, who tremendous player, if you're not familiar, just one of the all-time greats at Bucknell. And he had a summer internship where he was developing this piece of medical equipment that was a dual injection syringe that could revolutionize treatment for, I forget what disease it was, but it was this big deal. And like, he's doing this during the summer, and then he's coming back and averaging 22 points a game on the court, and just, seeing how he balanced that, and how all the student athletes balance, these really tremendous and rigorous academic disciplines, as well as being outstanding performers in their sport, is just such an eye-opening and frankly humbling thing to see day in and day out.
Yeah, for me as well, it's been such a treat getting to get to know some of the student athletes at Colgate, because throughout the Patriot League, obviously the rigorous academics, the great athletics, you combine the two, you're going to get some really special people out there. And for me, what makes it really cool is, like you said, talking to the students before and after the game. For me, it can also be kind of during, because on our broadcast, I'm pretty sure it's for almost everybody else in the league, students volunteer their time either as interns or just straight up volunteers to work production on the broadcast. And I usually talk to a lot of them, and sometimes you're far away from the action. You can't really tell who's out on the pitch or out on the field versus who comes up into the press box with you. And after talking to a few of them a couple times, I realized, wait, these were the same people I was calling a field hockey game for yesterday, and now they're helping me broadcast a soccer game today. And then the next day it'll be a field hockey game, and the soccer players are helping me out. And I'm just thinking to myself, when I was in college, just trying to get enough time for me to work broadcast on my own as just a regular student was hard enough. But now trying to play at a Division I level, handle this volunteer opportunity on the side, do a really good job at it as well, and help us put on an awesome production while also being great students, it was just kind of mind-blowing to me. It's one person, and not just one person, but a group of people, the entire basically student body at Colgate of athletes could do that.
No, I wouldn't be doing my job here with you guys if I didn't pick out some favorite calls. I had you guys pick them out beforehand. We got to have a listen to you guys in action here in the Patriot League. Sam, let's start with you. You had selected Hannah Pincus goal for Colgate over Lafayette. Let's have a listen.
Good opportunity here with the right foot. The strike off the bottom of the bar and home! Oh, you've got to be kidding me!
So that goal was just used in a broadcaster's mind. You kind of break up the soccer field into thirds, and when that ball's in the middle of the field, you're thinking, okay, there's really no shot at the goal here. And when I picked my head up after identifying who the player was on the pitch, and you see the strike that she had, it's just absolutely wild. From that far out, it's an absolute wonder goal, and chills, honestly, for what it meant in the match, and then just seeing that kind of performance.
Now, Joe, the play you picked out came at the buzzer. Let's have a listen right here, and then have you talk about, just building the excitement at the end of the game and what that was like.
Pina on the drive, shot blocked by Cap. And the ball game is over. The Bucknell Bison hang on for a humongous victory.
Yeah, so for that call, that was at such a critical juncture in the season. That's why it really sticks out to me. And it was a tight back and forth game. Boston was making a run right at the end, and then to just have, Abby Cap step up with this huge defensive play as Boston's going in for the tie, a layup in that situation, sends the game into overtime. It was just so big, and there was just so much emotion from the players on the court, from the fans in the stands who knew the history between these two teams this year, and just being able to feed off that just really makes that one stick out in my mind as one of those truly special moments in a season of being around a team.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. Congratulations on being finalists, and we look forward to seeing one of you guys move on and be able to get get that grand prize of calling that half inning at the Futures Game, at the All-Star Game next summer. Good luck, and thanks again.
No, thank you.
Thanks, Jimmy.